On Wednesday, the 17th of April, the EFCC had mobilized to the residence of the former governor in Benghazi Street, Wuse, Abuja, seeking to arrest Bello over allegations of 80.2 billion naira fraud. Unfortunately, after an 8-hour standoff, the operatives of the EFCC left without effecting the arrest. At the Federal High Court proceedings a day after, the counsel to EFCC, Kemi Pinheiro, accused the Kogi State Governor Usman Ododo of frustrating their efforts by whisking off the suspect. He also accused the security operatives attached to Yahaya Bello of impeding the arrest. According to him, the EFCC operatives were also fully armed but allowed reason to prevail so as to avert a bloodbath. It is for this purpose that Pinheiro threatened the anti-graft agency might have to invite the military to arrest Bello. Since then, several measures have been activated by the federal government to ensure the EFCC performs its mandate of investigating and prosecuting corrupt cases. This include a rebuke by the Attorney General of the Federation, Prince Lateef Fagbemi, asking the embattled former governor of Kogi State to toe the path of decency by honoring the invitation extended to him by the EFCC. Also, the EFCC has declared the former governor wanted in connection with alleged case of money laundering to the tune of 80.2 billion naira. The Nigeria Immigration Service has also placed Bello on a watch list to prevent him from fleeing the country, while the Inspector General of Police has withdrawn police personnel attached to the former governor. Despite these actions, there are several questions begging for answers. The lack of harmonization of court cases and conflicting court orders granted by courts of coordinate jurisdiction. Interagency rivalry. It is clear that the police and DSS, who make up the security detail of Governor Ododo and Yahaya Bello, worked to frustrate their EFCC counterparts and helped Bello evade arrest. The EFCC has also been accused of treating the Bello's case with kid gloves compared to a harder approach executed to arrest former governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha, in 2022. Analysts have also faulted claims by the EFCC of not knowing Bello's whereabouts when the policemen attached to him have a responsibility of reporting his whereabouts or should have arrested him. Some Nigerians have also called for the commencement of impeachment proceedings against Governor Usman Ododo for acts of misconduct and abuse of office. While these questions remain unanswered, the expectation is for the EFCC to prove that all Nigerians are equal before the law. Ferdinand Duroha, Arise News.
All right, corruption has been a major issue in the country over the years. Different administration has been to, address the endemic corruption, especially amongst politicians and public officials. But it seems the more you look, the less you see. Well, let's have this conversation with Dr. Suleiman Barnabas. He's the Provost, Nigerian College of Forensic and Fraud Investigators, and Abba Kaka, who is a public affairs analyst and anti-corruption crusader. Gentlemen, very warm welcome to Newsnight. Maybe I should start with you, Abba Kaka. I mean, look at the drama playing out between the security operatives and the former EFCC helmsman, the one that called himself the White Lion, is on the run over alleged 80 billion naira fraud. How would you describe security apparatus in nipping, such wanted persons, like the way the EFCC have gone about it?
Thank you for having me and of having us today. And congratulations for, going to South Africa and 9 other countries as well.
Thank you very much.
To answer your question, honestly, this is really embarrassing, it's sad, unfortunate, and is road to anarchy. There's an allegation on the former governor of over 80 billion naira. A bench warrant has already been issued by the Federal High Court in Abuja. And I don't know why he's running if he thinks he's innocent.
But it's on records that well, let me not use the word procured, but that they got a court order to, restraining the EFCC from arresting him. An injunction, but I don't know if that injunction is in perpetuity.
You see, the problem is one high court cannot be an appellate over another high court. This case has already been ruled by the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals in the past. So the point is, Yahaya Bello said he is innocent. Let him come to the court and prove his innocence. It's very simple. And that drama that took place, the governor of Kogi State, Mr. Dodo, shouldn't have even been allowed to enter that residence, because when you have a suspect in a house or a residence sealed by the EFCC or the police,
it should be a no-go area.
It's a no-go area because it's an active crime scene.
Yeah.
So why was the governor even allowed to have access to the house? That access now is the problem, because Yahaya Bello escaped because of that mistake. So I don't see why the FCC doesn't even need an arrest warrant to arrest him. The bench warrant has already been issued by the Federal High Court, and therefore, if he's innocent, let him come and prove his innocence. It's very sad and embarrassing even to the country, to our children. More than 80% of former governors in this country are found wanting. So leadership is not about that. And this man, unfortunately, even contested to become the president of the country, if you can remember.
Very well indeed. Let me come to Dr. Suleiman Barnabas, who is the provost of the Nigerian College of Forensics and Fraud Investigators. Why did it take the EFCC this long before they launched the arrest attack on the former governor? Couldn't the EFCC, the day the former governor handed over, had been arrested? And in your college, the College of Forensics and Fraud Investigators, one would have thought that investigators would have imbibed, a quick response system in tracking, fraudulent cases of those higher up there. What do you think went wrong?
Yes, I think that the EFCC did a very good job. Unfortunately, the former governor, who is, who can rightly be described as a fugitive now, has been hiding in government house. Bello has not left Lugard House in Kogi State, in Lokoja. From the very day, you see, when we have...
Are you speaking authoritatively
authoritatively?
Now? Because you are in Abuja here
of
now.
Of course, the facts are there. We are in Abuja, we know what's happening. Is he in Abuja now?
You are not speaking as a political opponent.
No, not at all. I am not. I am
now
not a card-carrying member of any...
Yes, you're a public servant, you understand?
Yes.
In charge of a very key institution that helps, to train experts, forensic and fraud experts and the rest. And I'm asking you that one of your students is the EFCC as an institution. And it's like they've boggled this matter from the onset.
No,
you
I am telling
agree?
you that the EFCC has done a very good job. Of course, because he had immunity, they had always been talking about this problem. Investigations were on. Remember, they seized some 20 billion naira from a bank, which they deposited with the CBN. So many things. They've seized a lot of property that belonged to former Governor Yahaya Bello. So EFCC did a very good job. In fact, we should commend them that it's not about media trial. They did their homework very well. The facts are, and that's why the governor is running, because he knows that the volume of evidence before these anti-corruption agencies and even the court is not something that he can get out of it. That's why he's running. And it's unfortunate that people whom we should consider as models in our society have become nothing short of criminals. Yes, criminals.
Well, you allow the court to pronounce that.
Okay.
I know it's not a direct reference
yes.
to him. You are now speaking
generally
generally.
Generally speaking.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's unfortunate. Let me tell you the truth. there is no language that has been used to describe former Governor Yahaya Bello that has been an exaggeration. Extremely, incompetent. I mean, I have never seen an infantile leader like Yahaya Bello. We call them leader because that's the nomenclature we use for them. But that's not a leader. Yahaya Bello, was so violent to the extent that he went against his opponents. You follow the story of Natasha. You follow the story of Dino Melaye. You follow the story. There are people, in fact, some days to the election, of course, in connivance with, complicit security agencies, including the Commissioner of Police in Kogi State, Bertrand Onoha, went to an opponent's house, demolished the place, killed people, including policemen.
Well, I'm sure if the police invite you to come and give evidence to that,
of course, the IG went there.
You would be ready to do that.
Yes.
But let me come to you, Abba Kaka, the anti-graft crusader. It looks as if a lot of the fraud spills that we hear, it's after the act must have been done and the rest. The banks are not held liable. Is it not supposed to be a vicarious liability? The bank, the customer and the rest. In this case of embezzlement.
Of course, indeed. Like in the case of this Yahaya Bello and even others, I know that the FCC has invited bank chiefs. And even
they don't ever get prosecuted.
Well,
why?
We don't understand why. That's why we are also here talking, trying to understand why are not the bank chiefs or the banks themselves being investigated and prosecuted, because they are part and parcel of this crime. You understand? So, but in the case of the humanitarian ministry, for example, 50 bank accounts are being investigated, as the FCC has reported. And they have also said that they have invited some bank chiefs that were involved in that fraud. So we are waiting, eagerly waiting to see results. Not only see the results, but prosecution of those who are found wanting in these cases. Yahaya Bello is very, very unfortunate that these are the kind of leaders we have in Nigeria. Very unfortunate. Just as the doctor has said, his antecedents are just very unfortunate. That this is the kind of, we have leadership recruitment processes is faulty in Nigeria. That's why people like that can become governors. Some of them are even lawmakers, making laws and breaking the laws. What Yahaya Bello did is call to anarchy. And whatever it takes, nobody is above the law. Even the current president himself went to court before, if you remember, at the Code of Conduct, and cleared his name. So nobody is above the law of this land, and we cannot allow any politician or individual or groups to move us into anarchy. Look at the thugs that he invited to his house. Wanted to fight the police and the FCC officials and other security agencies who are there. So he should have been nabbed in that house. The governor of Kogi shouldn't have been allowed to access that house at all. Because by accessing the house, the fugitive actually escaped. And what is the role of those police officers and DSS officers attached to him? They should be doing their job. I'm glad that the Inspector General of Police has withdrawn the ADC and other police attaches to him and actually arrested them, including the ADC.
The ADC.
Because this nonsense has to stop. Because this is democracy we are practicing, and nobody should, if you accuse me of anything, let alone 80 billion naira, it's a lot of money, I'll be eager and happy to come to the court and clear my name, just like others are doing. Why is he running? That means he's guilty.
That's
Probably.
the 100 million naira question. But let's turn to you again, Barnabas. Your institute again, very key, in Nigeria's anti-corruption fight and drive, and not only a synergy in streamlining or reducing the labyrinth of corruption, but here is a situation where the financial institutions, for example, are said to be, complicit in this matter. Do you have, key members of the financial institutions as students of your school, besides the key anti-corruption agencies?
Well, the Nigerian College of Forensics and Fraud Investigators was actually it's a creation of the Act of the National Assembly, and it's relatively new. In fact, the training courses and all will start sometime in June. The EFCC Academy in Cairo is the takeoff point, but some of the programs and certification courses that the college will be running, we'll be inviting them. In fact, we are in touch with them, including the...
What are the key issues here in frauds detection and corruption?
Yes.
We said forensic.
Yes. You see, the law empowers the college to establish a forensic laboratory where documents, some other materials, will be taken to for location of facts. You see, everything about forensics is about using science to detect the commission of crime and also to detect the criminals. And that's what we are doing. But the problem here is not whether the crime has not been detected. The problem is not even that the alleged criminal, has not been identified. It is now for the alleged criminals to come and face the law. And that's why we shouldn't allow politicians to undermine our judicial system. Because everything about the criminal justice system will only work well when justice is done, irrespective of, the position.
Exactly. What position.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm happy that the Nigerian government, has not, including the, especially the Minister of Justice, who has come out to say, Mr. Governor, turn yourself in. I mean, why are you running? We've had governors, face the law. Go to the US, the former president is going to court virtually every day. So let's have leaders that are responsible, leaders that, people, the younger generation can look up to. But what Yahaya Bello is doing is actually running from the law. And you know how long the arms of the law is. Yeah. There's no way.
I don't know if Yahaya Bello can still be described as a youth, because it was a symbol. It was a symbol of youth leadership that a lot of Nigerians thought would grow up and become a leader.
Absolutely,
a true leader of tomorrow.
Absolutely, Bello does not represent the Nigerian youth. The Nigerian youth all over the world, we are known for integrity. We are known for hard work. We are known for professionalism. Bello is an outlier as far as describing him within the context of the Nigerian youth is. And besides, Bello does not even represent the Nigerian politician. No matter how corrupt we claim that Nigerian politicians are, we have seen how they've shown responsibility in going to court so as to give accountability for their service. But for someone in that caliber to be running and using talks and using police and all, it's most unfortunate. And I hope that such democratic infidels never find their space in our political firmament at every point in time.
Well, the NBC would define you for that, not Arise TV that's giving you the platform. But Kaka, speaking seriously now, this leadership deficits, the volume of corruption is frightening. I'm sure if people, Nigerians in the diaspora, if they hear it and they say they have this kind of quantum of money and yet development is so slow, non-existent, and the rest. And you just want to look at voluntary organizations like the Boy Scouts, the Boys Brigade, Girls Guides, and the rest, where leadership skills acquisitions are taught, you know, when we were growing up, and the rest. It's like Nigerians never imbibed it, or what?
Corruption has become a cancer in this country. We need a surgical operation to remove it, period. Otherwise, why would Yahaya Bello telling or asking the president to call the FCC to order, as if that is the president's job? The president doesn't do that. Calling
There's some kind of arrogance,
yeah,
or what?
yes. No,
the money is humongous, isn't it?
The money is humongous, and the system must bring him to justice and get this money back. Look at Kogi, the kind of crisis in Kogi, insecurity, humanitarian crisis. I'm from Borno State, but Kogi is worse than Borno State.
Yes.
You know, even with Boko Haram for the past 13, 14 years, our governor has gone out like a machine, working day and night to make things right. You understand? But for somebody to be accused of stealing 80 billion naira meant for one state is unbelievable, is shocking. And he's asking the president to call the FCC to order. The president is not going to do that. You know, whatever he thinks, maybe there's something wrong upstairs. You know, because also the second point is this case of aiding and abetting criminality and escape of the former governor by the current governor himself. Even though he has immunity, it has to be in the books whenever he finishes serving the Kogi people. I hope he doesn't follow the line of Yahaya Bello, which is what he's doing.
He still has his case at the tribunal, so it's
exactly.
not, you know.
You understand? So that case of aiding and abetting a criminal to escape itself should be waiting for him at the end of his tenure. Because, you know, we have laws in this country. This is democratic dispensation. And the president himself has been prompt in sending packing ministers out because of corruption, like in the case of humanitarian ministry. Therefore, you know, we are looking forward to the EFCC, whatever it takes, get this guy to justice so that people will have confidence in the government, people will have confidence in the system, that we have laws. This is not a jungle country.
Absolutely. Now, final words from you, Barnabas. Tell me, how can your institute, the Nigerian College of Forensics and Fraud Investigations, you know, help to redirect the investigative capacities of crime experts and officers and the rest?
Yes, at the college we have professional instructors all over the world, you know, because we're also running a hybrid, you know, program. We're experts even from Harvard. We have some of the instructors from Harvard who will provide the theoretical understanding. And then, of course, we are purchasing some, you know, equipments that will help us, you know, to ensure that evidences available are validated and are forged documents, particularly because that's what happens in this in these fraud cases, you know, are authenticated, and then people who are, you know, culpable are given the appropriate punishment. And my advocacy also, or rather my advice is that let us ensure that these laws are implemented. Nigeria has a very strong, you know, law to address criminalities or fraud. Unfortunately, like what is happening when we use, you know, money and power to undermine the process, that is when we have, I mean, you remember Jeremy Bentham, who talks about hedonistic calculus. Criminals are so, you know,
they're brilliant too.
Brilliant to the extent that they do a cost-benefit analysis of their criminality. And that's why you see that politicians, you know, continue to engage in this kind of behavior.
To perfect
No,
their
no, I'm even talking about
nefarious act.
I mean, if you were giving money to build hospitals and to build bridges, to build, roads in China, and you take the money to go and buy Dabra's Hotel, or you take the money to go and buy houses in
Dabra's Hotel doesn't exist again.
Yeah, of course, Bello has bought it. Or you take the money to go and pay your students' school fees in American International School, Abuja, pay almost over a billion naira, over $1 million in advance. You see, in China, they will take you, your children, and everybody and execute them. In Nigeria, you carry the money and invite senior advocates of Nigeria, a lot of them, and then they come and use technicalities. And so when you do your cost-benefit analysis from 80 billion, or you do what they call plea bargain, you give 40 billion back, and you go back and enjoy the remaining 40 billion, then people wouldn't mind.
But that's what we've been seeing most of the time.
And that's why we are saying that we must correct that. Until the punishment is commensurate with the offense, people will continue to engage in this kind of criminal behaviors, particularly people who call themselves leaders. And that's what we'll be working against.
Thank you so very much, gentlemen. From my left, Abba Kaka, anti-graft crusader, and Dr. Barnabas Suleiman. He's the provost, Nigerian College of Forensics and Fraud Investigation, established by Act of Parliament in 2022. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having us.